Hey, good morning, ladies and guys. Hey, finished doing the alternator yesterday on this alternator number 2, and still trying to figure out the no power situation. So I actually started doing a whole bunch of looking it up on YouTube and Google and stuff like that. And I'm trying to figure out how this turbo works with a VGT solenoid in there. And come to find out that a guy had the same problem I had. His truck sat for 6 months, and then he'd use it once, and it'd sit for 6 months, and he'd use it once. And he had the exact same problem. All of a sudden, he had no boost. The turbo on here, has a unison ring, or it's like a unison turbo. It's a variable pitch turbo. Basically, what happens is, like, my 7.3 turbo has fixed splines, and I'm not familiar with the proper terminology of this stuff, but they're fixed. So the more RPMs, it just spins faster. The faster it spins, the more air that gets pushed into the turbo system. Well, this one has computer controlled. I do believe it's computer controlled. It's with the VGT solenoid. And it has a whole bunch of little vanes, we'll call it, that individually adjust. They swing out or swing in according to what the computer says it needs for boost. And if you let your truck sit and it's on the unison ring is what connects them all together. So there's a unison ring, hence the name unison. It makes everything act as one. As that spins, what happens is that turns, not with the spin of the turbo, but as it spins from being actuated with the VGT solenoid, that activates a little rod, and then that spins that unison ring maybe a 16th of a turn maximum. So it's variable. So it'll start spinning, and when it gets to maximum spin, which is literally like an inch, it looks like that's max boost. The fins are cupped in. It's blowing that air right through the exhaust right through that turbo. So basically, what happens is if you don't use the truck for a while and that unison ring doesn't stay mobile, they rust or they corrode in place, or they get built up with carbon over the years. Well, don't forget, this sat undisturbed for 2 years. I was about ready to drop $1,600 on a turbo last night, and I found this what do you call it, a thread, when they're typing back and forth on forums, and this guy said he had the exact same problem, and I'm just reading old threads. He had the exact same problem, and that's what it was. The unison ring has seized up. So I actually called Riffraff, and I talked to the guy Clay down there. This is not a paid endorsement or anything for Riffraff Diesel, but I actually called Clay, the owner. I think he's the owner of Riffraff, or the manager at Riffraff, and I was talking to him that I'm going to be buying an exhaust system for this truck and an exhaust for the other truck, but I also was telling him about the turbo problem and how I don't know if I want to dump $1,700 into a turbo right away. And I said, what do you think of the unison ring? And he's like, that definitely sounds like it could be a possibility. So we talked back and forth for a while about it, and he convinced me I'm going to yank this turbo off, and we're going to take it apart and see if the unison ring is seized up on it. So it's going to cost me $20-$30 for the O-ring and gasket set, which I got to pick up before I take this off. I'm going to go pick it up. But I watched a bunch of videos, and the Ford mechanics can have this turbo off in 10 minutes. So if they can have it off in 10 minutes, I should be able to have it off in at least 2 hours, I figure. No, it's actually not that complicated. Being that half this truck is already taken apart in there, or loose, or not where it's supposed to be because of the other shabby mechanics that have been in there. So this is a good learning lesson for me on how this turbo system works. So we're gonna attempt to take this turbo off. I can't do it right now. I got to run. But when I get back, we're gonna take this turbo off and go from there. So wish me luck. Okay guys, here we go. We are going to start disassembling the top of the engine again to get to that turbo. Half the stuff isn't even bolted on the way I bought the truck, so it should be that hard. I'm gonna put you back up on the hood again, and I'll see what I can do to get some of this out of here real quick. And then when I get down to the intricate part in there, which is really not that hard of a job from what I've seen online, when I get down in there, I'll show you. But I'm gonna take the air box off, the rest of the air box off, take the air tube off, get that up out of the way. So let's get started. That's just a little O-ring, so you just had a little, give it a little pressure and it pops right up. See, so the bolts, the nuts aren't even on here, and that's supposed to hold this down. And I'm sure there's supposed to be some rubber washers or grommets in here I'm gonna have to buy, because they don't have them. Here's the turbo. My stool keeps sliding back. Every time I lean forward, my stool slides out. All right, so I disconnected the VGT wire so that doesn't get ruined, hopefully. I gotta pry this off. So I know I gotta take the oil line off. That's this. I got the up pipe clamp, the down pipe clamp I got to do. All right, let me get some penetrating oil, PB Blaster, just to spray on these clamps. Okay, so you have right here, you got two. They appear to be 10mm bolts. One down there. This is going to be your paper gasket. And that's going to be an O-ring, I do believe. And we got to take this tube all the way out. All right, back there you have your downpipe clamp right there. And then if you go over on this side, you have the clamp that's facing, the screw is facing us, not the vertical one. And that is going to be your up pipes. It goes, see, those were replaced. Those are stainless steel right there. Those look like those were replaced. So I got the one with the PB Blaster dripping off of it right there. So I got to unscrew that one and that one. That one supposedly is the hardest one, and you got to pop it off with a pry bar. But being that somebody was in here, I have a feeling a lot of this is going to come off pretty easy. So I'm not going to do this oil line yet. I'm gonna wait to get that done. I'm gonna do those two band clamps. And then for the pedestal, oh man, this stool is gonna give me a heart attack. There's one bolt right there. There's three of them. There's another one back there that's pretty difficult to get to. And I think the other one is back there, I'm not sure. All right, well, let me get the down pipe and the up pipes off. I gotta get my hand back there. I gotta get something to lay on, because this is gonna go right, the hood latch is gonna go right in my gut. All right, much better. So I got my hand on the back side of that to hold the clamp. something spinning on me. See how it spins? So if I hold it, it doesn't do that. And I got to get the bolt. Remind me to hook that back up. Got to get the bolt almost all the way. I'm going to switch glasses too because I don't have my glasses for close-up on. All right, so I got the band loose. And if I rotate it, I can pop it right up. And there we go. So the reason I had to get my hand on the back, it was like this. If I pushed on it, it would come off. So if I just held my finger on like this, I could loosen it. And then once you get it 90% loose, hope you could see, then you could just pop this up. Then you could take the clamp right off like that. These are expensive and it's super fine thread. So try not to ruin these. That's why I put PB Blaster on there. All right, so that is the downpipe. That is actually the exhaust going to the exhaust, to the muffler, which this doesn't have, which eventually I'm going to be doing. But that's going out the exhaust. Now I have the up pipes. What the up pipes do is it takes the exhaust from the passenger side and the driver's side, combines them, and comes into the back of the turbo. That's what powers the turbo. And then after the turbo's done with it, it goes down the downpipe and out the back of the truck. If you're not familiar with how a turbo works. It uses the exhaust pressure to spin the turbines on the exhaust side here, which spins the turbine on the intake side, which is here. All right, so now I gotta do this one. And that wasn't that tight. So remember I was telling you I heard a vacuum leak or like a sound of air? That might have been part of the problem also. I might have been hearing that because that really wasn't that tight. All right, well, let me get this off, then I'll show you in there. And then this one, I'm gonna put a longer extension on. And right there, I don't need this extension on there. And I'm gonna have to do the same thing. I'm gonna have to put my hand probably back that way. I might be able to get it this way. I gotta get back on the truck. See, that's not even tight either. None of these are tight. Turbo has to be airtight. Yeah, I got my hand on the clamp, just the exact same type of clamp as on this side. See, it's not even tight. That wasn't good. I can't get that socket off. There we go. All right, let's see if I can get this clamp off. And this one sticks because of the heated exhaust. So I might have to pry this one off. Yeah, I'm gonna have to give this one a little persuasion somehow. These are my only other two pry bars that might fit in there. I think I'm gonna buy one of those creepers for the truck. It lays all the way over it, because this is killing my gut. There we go. That's what the ticket was right there. That little one, just a little bit. I can't get back up here now. I'm gonna get this clamp off. There we go. Actually, I'm gonna leave that on the up pipe right there. Let me show you in there now. So the first one I did was on this side. And if you see, this is the exhaust pipe. See how it's a tight fit? That clamp, the band clamp, grabs both sides of these and squeezes them together. Now you see in here, I don't know if it's in focus or not, but there's that little tab that goes up and over this. So you kind of gotta remember that when you go to yank this turbo out, that it's kind of connected to the exhaust right there. And then on the up pipe side, there's a clamp. Let me get my light in there for you. I got there we go. I got the clamp off, and it's the same type of mating surface as the other side, but it's behind this. And this is the VGT is on this side. This goes through, and there's actually a piston in here that actually controls the vanes. I'm learning all this. Every time I stop, I do more research. There's a piston in here that actually slides back and forth that we'll be taking apart. That actually controls the vanes on the turbo, which the VGT control. Make sense? No. But when we take it apart, it'll make more sense, because this is a learning process for both of us. Oh, there you go. You can see down in there the mating surface of the up pipe. Get the light in there better for you. There you go. Right there. That's the mating surface of your exhaust. Coming from the engine, both sides get merged into here. Let me zoom you back out. Goes through the exhaust turbines, which is a cast iron side, spins the turbines on that side, which spins the aluminum side, which is the intake side, which is a vacuum side. And it forces the air into the engine. Sounds like I know what I'm talking about, right? Well, I don't. So, all right. Well, the next thing is the oil pipe. And then I do believe it's just the 3 bolts on the turbo itself. So let's take the oil pipe off. And that's just, like I said, going to be these 2 bolts here. And then the bolt right there. Pull the stainless steel, I think it's stainless steel. Pull the stainless steel line out of the intake manifold. And then it's the 3 bolts on the pedestal. All right, enough jibber jabber. Let's get this going. It's a cold day. My hands are getting numb. So I gotta make sure you hold on to it so it doesn't go flipping out. 2, and now the 3rd one is down here. Oh. Which I can use this on as long as I have a extension. Let's put the socket back. This is an 11. Take my long extension and my 10 mil. Ooh. Ah. My stool just slid out again and I crashed my gut. All right, let's see. Nope, that's gonna be an 8. I thought it looked different. And I dropped it. Let me go get that magnet. I knew I should have just gotten a magnet in the beginning. And it is right there. So one 8mm, two 10mm. We're gonna keep that handy. We're definitely gonna need this. And let's try to pull the tube out. Nice and easy. A mechanic was definitely, somebody was definitely in here, but it was definitely not a professional. Definitely not a professional. So, if the guy I bought the truck from is watching this, no offense, but whoever you paid to do work on this ripped you off. Definitely ripped you off. All right, so that gasket is staying there, that's stuck there. So now we got to find the three bolts. One's there. Even the bottom of the turbo is leaking oil. I gotta find these now. I'm not familiar with the. I know there's three. One's there. Oh, one's here. And then the third one should be in the back. I think I found where that bolt goes that was here. The back bolt is missing. Like I said, look. See that? Turbo's not even bolted down. Makes my job easier. Let's zoom in right there. Right in that hole. Right there. That hole right there is your back bolt for your turbo. That's bolt number 3. That's it. Right there. One. Oh. One's up here, 2's on the other side, and that one. And my turbo is loose. So, all right, well, makes my job easier. Let's get this turbo out. Yeah, that definitely makes my job so much easier. I'm going to. I'm just going to put it on the follower. And I don't get long attention. I want to fall off there. I'll make this right now. I'll follow those. There we go. Take this off here. No, not it. That was all. Here we go. Gotta be careful. You got the oil pipe open. I'm gonna get a rag to cover it. Hold on. It's a little big, but I'm gonna stick this over this oil pipe there. So I do believe I'm going to take this off. That's my new hose for the map sensor, which is right here. I do believe the turbo is loose. And all right, my first 6.0 turbo removal. I think it's heavier than the 7.3. I gotta climb up here. All right, let's go. Ready? There we go. Here it is, guys. Now, how do you get it out of here? There we go. And that's why I covered the oil, because you don't want things like that falling in it. Turbo's out, guys. Oh, it's a replacement turbo, too. It's a remanufactured turbo right there. Here's a look inside so you know what you're looking at underneath the turbo. That's the bolt that wasn't in right there. This bolt and that bolt were finger tight. That was it. I wouldn't even say they were tight. They were finger loose. This is your exhaust. That's your up pipes from your, you see how there's 2 and they mix it, blend into 1. That's your exhaust coming from your engine into the turbo, spins the exhaust side of the turbo, goes out the exhaust, out the tailpipe. This is your oil return that was leaking. They pinched that O-ring, obviously, so I got to get new gaskets for this. And pedestal's tight. That's good. But here is that computer part. Look, that should not be metal on metal. So I'm gonna have to find some kind of rubber grommets to fit that in there so that doesn't bounce around. But what we came after is the turbo. Now let's get this turbo. So let me get off the truck, and then we're gonna see if we can inspect this turbo up here. See if it's worth taking apart or if I'm gonna have to buy a new one. All right, guys, I do believe I made a spot. We're cleaning the garage tonight. We can't work like this. We got too much crap in here. Unorganized. We got too many projects going on. The truck's broke down. We're gonna be rebuilding the transmission on the Corvette. Check out some of them videos, that's coming up. So what we gotta do is we're gonna tonight empty this whole bay. Get this bay and bay 1 and bay 2 completely empty as a goal. Get rid of all these tables, my truck doors, get outside. No need for them to be inside here. Pick all this bay up. And then that way, once we yank the transmission out of the vet, we could rebuild the transmission over here. Nice and neat and organized. But anyways, that's a separate project. I got this little high top table I made. I'm gonna take the turbo apart on this. So let me go get the turbo, which is right there. And we're gonna take it apart right here. So we're gonna take the VGT out first, solenoid there. It's an 8mm, and you have to use a 12-point socket. There you go. And the bracket. The bracket is what lines this up on the proper angle, because it has that cutout for these two little notches there. Pop this out. I just noticed that plywood that I have on this hole here is not strong enough to support the turbo. I almost lost the turbo in the hole. They said you may have to hit it pretty hard. All right, let me go get a rubber mallet. Smack it around right there. Oh, it's coming. There it is, right there. All right, ready? I put a better light on it so we can see together here. So the way this is supposed to work, now I haven't seen, this is your unison gear or plate. The unison plate controls these vanes. And see how these vanes are variable? They switch, okay? They're all supposed to move together. See how, okay, well, they're free, but if you notice, they haven't moved in a while because there's all carbon all around them. So they haven't moved in a while. This gear or this plate is twisted by the VGT, okay? This thing. This plate is supposed to spin freely, back and forth, and that right there is, I do believe, what turns it. Like this mechanism right here. See how this moves? So this is supposed to spin. So let's see if this moves. It's supposed to move super easy. And it's not moving, look. I think that's the problem, look. It's not moving. They said it's supposed to move. Well, let's take it off. Look at that. I think that might be our problem, guys. And see here, this is what moves it. As I'm dumping oil all over the table. Does anybody remember which direction this was? This way. You can see the veins on it. So that is supposed to move, and it does not. It also has to move this, but still, this is all corroded. I mean, all gummed up with soot. So let's take this. See, this sits like this. Let me see if I can get this in here now. All the same orientation. And it's supposed to in here. Oh, I can't get one long enough. What is the secret of this? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Here we go. So when this turns, so when this is turned by the VGT, all those vanes are supposed to turn like that. There you go. See? See how they turn? But it's supposed to be nice and easy. And it's taking a lot of force just like this. So let's clean this up. And I just got to get some emery cloth, brake cleaner, and a container. And we'll clean all these up. Maybe a nylon brush to clean it. Clean all in here with a wire brush once these are out of here. And these should just slide off. Yep. And then the other thing they said to look for is on a unison ring, this knob, this hole right here, which is controlled by, I hope this is all on camera, which is controlled by this mechanism here, which is controlled by your VGT. This here is, see now, let's see if I can get that to, nope. That's pro. And I say right in here. And we're going to this. This one. I can this line. These are strong enough. We're going to take this clip out here. I'm going to get other glasses. I can't see with these glasses. So I got my other glasses on, so if I walk away, I'm probably going to walk into a wall. But at least I can see what I'm doing here now. Much better. That came out easy. So now we got to get this out. See, it's stuck again. All right, they said you got to stick a screw in here like that and then pry. I don't have anything to pry with over here. All right, let me go get a screwdriver. So I just took one of the screws from the dust shield and it was the right thread. Just put it in a couple threads. There we go. Do it little by little. There it is. So that piston in there seems to be what is, can you see it? Where's that pick? And you can see there is some nasty oil in there too. Let me clean all that. There we go. Here's the piston. See the teeth on that? Let me turn this over. The teeth on that, this should lift up. No, I'm not taking this out. But the teeth on this are supposed to line up with this so you get full range of motion on this. Man, everything's in really good condition. It's just sat so long. I think that's what it is. Everything sat. So nothing got used. So everything got stuck. Yeah, see, that spins freely. It's in decent shape. So I'm going to put this in so the gears, see the dot that's on the gear faces the top of the thing where the gears are, faces up. And, oop, I had it too far. So you got to get it so it lines, let me see. There's got to be a way I can hold this. Let me get something, a straight one of these. Hold this. Oh, there. There. Okay, so I'm one tooth off. See how I can't go any farther? I would just get stuck there. It's not coming all the way back up, but I can go higher. So I'm one tooth off. Goes all the way full motion like it was before. And it comes up, look, and it's nice and free. So let's put that gear on. Let's put this on. Let's see what happens. Oh, look at that. Oh, but when it gets to this end, it gets stuck. All right, so it doesn't get stuck at that end, but it still gets stuck at this end, which is with it all the way in. But see, when this goes in and out, see how it's pulling that? I don't know if you can see that. Oh, there we go. There we go. Now it's good. Oh, I like that. Done. Oh, I gotta put this back together. Not done. Gotta be careful with this little O-ring right here. I like that. All right, let's put this off to the side. And let's continue cleaning. Now, I do believe these are all the same. I am going to assume that these are all the same. Let's put it that way. remember which way these go in. Obviously the bump goes up and the hollow part of the fane goes down. There's no wear at all in here. There's everything that they said to look for. Everything they said to look for wear and broken parts is really good. All right, it goes this way. Now, how do I do this? There's a notch here and here. So that means if the unison ring is there, see how nice that spins now? So if the unison ring is there, I put all these in wrong. So yes, you can put them in wrong. So that's how it's supposed to go, I do believe. There we go. Look at that. Like that. So now let's try to get this unison ring on there. If that is there, yeah, so this side there, oh, I like that. Okay, I got to get over that though. I got to figure out how to get this all together. So the unison ring has to go in here first. So I got to figure out a way to make sure I get the unison ring in the right spot. Now, how do you do that? So let me see if I can turn this. Ready? I'm gonna try to turn this without it falling out. Look at that. See how they move in unison? Gee, these names of these parts are just so... Look at that. So when the actuator, the VGT solenoid, operates this, those are supposed to turn. All right. So now, we have to line this up on top of here. So this is all together. Now we got to tip this upside down and line up. Now we got to take this and line this up in there. And there is this tab that has to go there. So I'm gonna do the VGT for the tab first. I mean the thing first. Let me see. Oh. I should probably put that clamp on, huh? Because I don't think I'm going to get that clamp on after. I don't remember how this clamp was on. That way. Or that way. Does anybody remember? Okay, people, it's together. It's a nice tight fit. Look at that. Nice tight fit. I don't think it can go together wrong. No, because it has that tab on it. Okay. And it sits in a truck. Like this. Here's the intake. And I remember this clamp was in this position. Because when I was looking in the truck, I could see this clamp to get to this clamp. So now I just got to tighten this one up. So in theory, if I blow air in here, that turbine should spin. And that is basically how the turbo works. Goes like this, out, this, into the engine. Now after all that, I came and put the turbo back in because we're missing bolts. We're missing one mounting bolt. So, and I got to get new gaskets. And so what I'm going to do is I am going to go get washed up, and I'm going to run to see if I can find any turbo installation kits locally that have the bolts in it. I need more than just the O-rings. I need a paper gasket there. I need the O-ring for the oil drain here. So I need an O-ring for that tube that goes in here. I need two O-rings actually for that. And then the 3 bolts. All right, let's do some research, try to find some parts. Well, I just called around and no one has that mounting, the mounting kit with the 3 bolts in it in stock. They have the O-rings, they have the gasket, but they don't have the one with the 3 bolts. So I ordered it. It's going to be available tomorrow around noon. So I will continue this tomorrow once I get the parts. And I have high hopes. I have high hopes that this turbo is still good. It's a remanufactured turbo, it says on it, on the tag. So I think we should be good. Fingers crossed. And I'll continue this tomorrow.